Hey, what's up everyone? Airball here, and today we are taking on the best of one standard ladder. We have Selesnya Enchantress for you today. And I spent a lot of today playing a bunch of different decks, and it is hard out there for creatures right now. Control is rampant on the ladder, and the old decks from the previous standards are pretty well tuned, and the power level of the new set isn't really there. If you try to build around new mechanics, I don't think the power level is there. I tried Bard class deck. I tried with the new legendary payoffs. I tried a ninjutsu deck. All of those were cool. They were fun to play, but they just weren't competitive in power level. And then I happened upon this deck by Reed Duke. This was one of his brews, the Selesnya Enchantress list, and it runs a ton of new cards and is actually surprisingly powerful in both creature and control matchups. So let me show you what I mean. So the deck is built around this core of new cards. So we have this 1-drop Generous Visitor, which is a payoff for casting enchantment spells. It's a 1/1 for 1, but it's another one of these 1-drops that pay you off for doing exactly what you want to do in the archetype. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it's kind of like a Luminarch Aspirant for 1 if you can keep playing an enchantment every single turn, which is kind of what this deck aims to do. We have Jukai Naturalist, which is a 2/2 for 2, which makes your enchantment spells cost 1 less. And we have many, it is an enchantment itself, so it will be cheaper if you haven't one already in play, so it stacks pretty nicely. And we also have a few other enchantment creatures. We have Weaver of Harmony, which is a lord for enchantment creatures. You can also tap it for a green and copy an activated or triggered ability. It doesn't come up that often. The first thing I thought was that you could copy the ability of Ranger class, like pumping it up to level 2 and then getting level 3 for free. That doesn't work because it's not a saga. You can't put the extra counter on it. If you do that, it'll just go to level 2 twice and you've wasted your turn. So, we lived and learned. But you can copy the actual trigger from level 2 when you attack. You can put extra counters on things that way. It does have to come from an enchantment source. You cannot copy, for instance, the activated ability of, or the triggered ability of Luminarch Aspirant. But you can copy, for instance, the first chapter of Mashiko's Reign of Truth, which is one of the big enchantment payoffs that we got in the new set. First 2 chapters of the saga, target creature gets +1/+1 for every artifact and/or enchantment that you control. So this is good because we're already playing a bunch of artifacts and enchantments ourselves, or really just enchantments. But one thing I discovered playing the deck is that Fateful Absence is a card, and the clues that they give you for your creatures actually serve to pump up your other stuff when you have Mashiko in play. And you have multiple clues from when they killed your previous creatures. That can actually add up to quite a bit. We also have another enchantment creature in the form of Spirited Companion. It's a 1/1 for 2, enters the battlefield, replaces itself, draw a card. He is also, importantly, a good boy. Look at that. I don't know what's flying around his head, but he's a good boy. He's enjoying himself. He's loving life. Anyway, so this enters the battlefield. It can trigger your Generous Visitor and become a it can become a pretty big threat pretty easily, which is important when you're playing these little bad creatures that replace themselves. You do want to be able to do something with the body, and we're pretty effective at pumping it up. We have Kodama of the West Tree. So you see most of the payoff for playing enchantments here come in the form of +1/+1 counters. So you get +1/+1 counters from attacking with a leveled up Ranger class. You get +1/+1 counters from Generous Visitor. All of that serves to modify your creatures. And Kodama cares about modified creatures. When you hit an opponent with a modified creature, and that's easy to do because your stuff will have trample, you get to ramp. You get to put basic land cards from your library into play. So it's not impossible to have multiple modified creatures in play when you play this. Attack for 2 on turn, attack for 2 different creatures on turn 3, and then get 2 extra lands in play if the opponent can't block them or kill them in response. So that gets you up to 6 mana, which can crew, for instance, your Cave of the Frost Dragon. It can make your Lair of the Hydra that much bigger, and it can make it easier to rebuild in the event that your opponent wipes the board. So we also have, in terms of new cards, the last new card is Boseiju Who Endures, which is a legendary land, taps for a green. It also has Channel. For 2 mana, you can discard it and destroy an enchantment, artifact, or non-basic land. And the opponent will be able to put a basic land from their deck into play. And it's, you get a discount if you have a legendary creature, of which we do have some. But it's just a kind of nice enhancement to the mana base. It's not important. If you wanted to play this deck without this land, I think you easily could. But there are some artifacts and enchantments floating around, especially in the mirror. Being able to kill opponents' creatures with something from your mana base is great. But it's a legendary land. We don't have a way to to deal with that other than using the channel effect, so we only play 2. In terms of the rest of the deck, our mana base is pretty simple. We have our man lands, which I've been talking about. We have Luminarch Aspirant, which is just like a house of a card for one thing. It's just a great 2-drop. Modifies your creatures for Kodama. Ranger class is just an enchantment payoff. It happens to be the best enchantment that's been in these colors in Standard for the last several months. But we also have Catilda, which hasn't seen a lot of play because there hasn't been a whole lot of support for the Enchantress effects. But this is a bit of a house. Flying Lifelink Pro Vampire, which happens to come up a lot when opponents are playing things like Edgar, which they are doing right now. The black-white shells are out in force. And its power and toughness are equal to the number of permanents that you control that are spirits and or enchantments, which is like most of our stuff. So Catilda can come into play as like a 4/4, get pumped up by a Luminarch Aspirant to a 5/5, say. Mashiko comes into play, can put a counter on it from Generous Visitor. Then the chapter 1 of the saga goes off. I have attacked for like 15 flying lifelink without the opponent being able to do anything about it. And it's also an enchantment on the backside as well. So if it's in the bin, if your opponent kills it, then you can use this to beef up your crappier creatures, get more enchantment triggers, and continue keeping the cards flowing and keeping the damage going. Yeah, so that's the deck. Very excited to play it. As I said, I played it on the ladder a little bit. And I've had decent results, but I want to show you. So let's see how the deck does. Okay, on the play with a decent 1-2-3 curve. We're definitely keeping this. What to play on 2 is interesting, but I think it's pretty clearly the Luminarch Aspirant. This will be better later on. Both options put a counter on the Visitor. Yeah, I just want to develop the board here, I think. And also, we can look forward to attacking with a modified creature for Kodama next turn. If they kill the Aspirant here, we'll just be able to slam this and get in and ramp. Orb of Dragonkind. Interesting. So Boros Dragons here. We can slam the Ranger class. I think I like ramping here. If we ramp, then we'll have 5 mana available next turn, which opens up some doors if we draw, like, Catilda. Actually, we get to ramp twice because both of these things will be modified. Yeah, this is, I think this is clearly Kodama here. Yeah. So we'll put a green in play, and we'll put a white in play. And say go. They're a little scared here. This does ramp them into a big dragon, should they have one here. But no Town Razer Tyrant to worry about in Standard, and obviously we have all basics anyway. What the hell is that? Atsushi the Blazing Sky. Alright, this is one of the new Mythic Dragons. 4/4 Flying Trample. When it dies, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end, or create 3 treasure tokens. You have got it. So we want to be able to attack through this. So let's get this up to 4. And let's play the Reign of Truth. Put the +1/+1 counter on the Aspirant. This will pump up the Visitor just by entering the battlefield, so let's pump up the Aspirant again. Oh no, that was on cast, never mind. Oops, so I screwed up a little bit here, but I think this is still actually fine. Oops, not anymore. I should have pumped up the... I meant to play that on green to pump the Ranger class. Oops. Alright. But I think we still attack. If they eat this, then we get in for 10. Yeah, and it's a modified creature as well. Yeah, definitely misplayed that. It's been a long day of Magic. We've kind of gone off. Next turn, this will flip, come into play as another enchantment creature. They have another one of these dragons, but we should not make the same mistake. Oh, this actually doesn't flip. This just pumps again this turn. Okay, so we'll do this. Play this on green for real this time. Ranger class. Level up. Level up. Down to one. Down to one. They have a ton of mana, but they're under a ton of pressure as well. And these are beefy creatures that they should have some difficulty removing, I would think. Yeah, got there. Okay, so played badly, did it anyway. And this is like the kind of explosive draw that we've seen decks like this have. Luminarch Aspirant, of course, just a busted Magic card. But these cards low-key got us there, right? Like, Generous Visitor being able to attack for a bunch on turns 2 and 3, put them under a bunch of pressure. Their life total was under such threat that they needed to play these dragons and chump with them. So this was a pretty big part of the game, the Generous Visitor. And Kodama, I think, put like 4 or 5 extra lands into play, which was important for being able to pump the Ranger class once I stopped playing like crap. So, yeah, that was fun. On to the next one. Okay, so on the draw, which sucks, we do have the Naturalist in hand, but it doesn't discount anything at the moment, which also sucks. This is very clunky. I'm not sure we're supposed to keep this, but I'm going to try it. Like, best of one, mulliganing really sucks. And you never know what's going to be good. And this was also a pretty good draw off the top as well, because this will pump it for us. Let's start with our Bosaiju. Looks like we have Fading Hope in the house. But Fading Hoping my 1/1 is not really where they want to be, I would not think. So we're quite sure that that's what they have. Does that, with that in mind, does that mean we play the Naturalist pre-combat or post-combat? I think if we play it post-combat, then the Naturalist is what they're going to want to bounce. So knowing that, let's just play it now. Because if they let it touch the board... Or actually, we just get to put the counter on it on cast. If they pump this or if they Fading Hope this in response, then we have a better creature at the end of the day. And the only difference, we traded basically having a better creature in play for 1 point of damage. Although, I mean, I guess it's possible they have like Dragon's Fire here, and we would have wanted the smaller creature in play anyway. I don't know. That's tough. I feel pretty confident that whatever we play is going to die. Catilda's also kind of medium right now, given that we have no real enchantments in play. So let's just play the legend that we have multiple copies of, and if they kill it, we're not super sad. Roiling Vortex. What's going on here? Spirited Companion is not bad. I think we start with an attack. And we'll lead with Generous Visitor. And we will play around Jwari Disruption, I think. And let's just pump this up. I think that any of their remaining removal is not Fading Hope. It is probably damage based, and so getting up to 4/4 is relevant, especially if this is a Cinderclasm. Although I guess if they Galvanic Iteration to Cinderclasm, then we're sad. Okay, so that's pretty good. It has been for a while. But Roiling Vortex is going to put more pressure on them than on me. Another Spirited Companion is kind of nice. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get multiple creatures modified so that we'll ramp a little more. Get in. Our hand is very legendary. It's not really where we want to be, but things aren't so bad. And given that we have the extra Cahilda in hand, she represents a lot of pressure. Opponent is at 8. They basically need Burn Down the House. Okay. That's a lot of mana. That's 8. So I have seen some people playing Izzet Control with Crackle with Power, like Goldspan Dragon as like a ramp engine to cast Crackle with Power for big money. And they can cast it for what? For a lot. They have 10 mana here. This is interesting. Copying Demon Bolt. Okay. Yeah, that's clever. So opponent's at effective 7 with the Roiling Vortex. We're attacking for 4, 5. I'm not doing the math. Screw that. Generous Visitor. Pump it up. Get in. Get in. Sure. So now we hit them for 6. You're at 1. Can you kill me this turn? It's not impossible. But there's no Allrun's Epiphany anymore, and even if there was, it would kill them. What you got? Six damage upstairs, and we're dead. Yeah, okay. So probably could have gotten an extra point of damage somewhere this game, but yeah. Tough game. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, on the draw, our hand is awkward, but it does have a lot of pieces that I like. Hopefully our draws will fill in the blanks. So like we'll probably lead with Naturalist. It'll make the companion cost 1, and hopefully we'll be able to draw another 2-drop. Like that. That's pretty great. Courtesy tap. But now, ironically, now that they've played one Jori Disruption tapped, it makes me think that they are more likely to have another one. Okay, only blue mana. I am deeply suspicious, but we're going to play this anyway. Because if we're not playing it here, then what are we doing? At least the companion will replace itself. Yeah, see? Always. Always. When they play one tapped on one, they have another one. But now, it's not so bad. If we play the Naturalist tapped here, then we can also play the Spirited Companion to follow. Shock's in white mana. So I would guess that this is going to be a pretty tough matchup. We'll do this again. That resolved very easily. And we'll wait on this. We can't attack this turn. There's no reason to pump anything. Do you have the third? No. Okay, but this is fine. We still got our discount. We got our card. The fact that they're killing that in response means that they probably don't have a board wipe yet, which is encouraging. Although we don't have any pressure yet either, which is less encouraging. So if we draw untapped land, we do not. Okay. So this is not modified. We will not ramp if we play Kodama here. I think I kind of like just playing the Visitor and playing another companion to try to hit our land drop. This Fertel could very easily be Doomskar. But at least everything we've done has replaced itself. And we do have the ability to rebuild a little bit next turn. Obviously, if they have multiple board wipes, then we're scared. That Shocking In is very scary there as well. Double spelling here, not super appealing either. It's probably supposed to be just Kahilda. Play around 4 spike, play the tap land, go. And then next turn we'll have Aspirant plus Reign of Truth. Alright. Bunch of removal. Much more resistance out of this opponent than previous ones. Main phase Behold the Multiverse, though. That's pretty great. 1 to the top. And no land. 1 to the top and still miss your land drop? That's pretty scary for us, I would think. So let's... I think we're just all in. Like, one to the top... Like, the only thing that they would keep, realistically here, though, is... without... Like, missing your land drop to keep something on top, the only thing you'd keep in that spot is a board wipe, right? So, playing the Aspirant onto the board could just be suicide. Yeah, we're probably just supposed to go slow. We do have the creature land. Let's go. Let's just go. And they'll probably want to kill the Aspirant, so let's put a counter on this. And if you have a board wipe, we can start getting with the creature lands. It does... I am scared. But... I think we need to end the game quickly. And just playing one creature there I don't think would put enough pressure on them. And it also opens the door for, like, single target removal to keep the game going long. If they do have the board wipe, I think I want to force them to play it. They don't feel forced. That could be Behold the Multiverse. Interesting. Alright. So we'll play this, and I think... Actually, these clues are pretty great, right? They represent a bunch of extra damage off of this. Let's put this here. And we will pump the Hydra for x equals what? X equals 3? Alright, main phase, Behold the Multiverse, and they are dead on board. If they don't find anything. They scry to the top again, so something's gonna die. I guess we'll put it here. Spread out the damage as much as possible. Yeah. So there's some chance that we want to put the Lair of the Hydra, pump it up before this trigger goes off. Sunset Revelry is really annoying. Oh, I would have had to do that during upkeep. Crap. That makes sense. So I guess it's Aspirant. And we can try to get in with flying. That seems super ambitious. We do this... We have so many creature lands. Let's play the Catilda. And I think I'm just going to attack for x equals 2 here. And let's go. And now they're under a bunch of pressure once again. They more or less need to wipe the board sooner or later, and we have 3 creature lands for them to fight through. A Lobster would be pretty scary at this point. Another Doomscar, okay. Okay, so what gets in for the most possible damage? We have 8 mana. This will get in for 6. This will get in for only 3, so... Actually, this will get in for 7. Right? Yeah. And we can even activate multiple lands next turn. Lobster doesn't deal with these man lands very well either. So I think that's going to be the play. How much does this cost to activate? 5? Effectively 6, so we can only activate 2 things. Let's... We have how much mana? We're going to use 4 to activate 2. We have 9 mana total, so we need to distribute 5 mana. So we'll attack for x equals... Let's just make them both x equals 2. There's really no good reason for that. Let's... Actually, there is. If they target one of the lands to kill it, then we can crack a clue in response. That's not going to do it. You need to have another kill spell here, like literal kill spell. So this will let them bounce this, block, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. So they get to eat this. And we do have a flying man land to try to get the rest of the way. So this has to be a kill spell off the top. His opponent says good game. I don't feel like I played it super well. But we got there. Nice. Okay. Cool. 2-1. On to the next one. Okay. So on the play, we have the 1-2-3 curve that we dream about. We keep this for sure. Opponent mulligans. We love it. Snow-covered plains. Okay, so this is interesting. We can either play the Ranger class or we can play the Spirited Companion. I think I like going Spirited Companion here. I like being able to pump it with the counter from playing the Ranger class next turn. Okay. This is a little annoying. So we're up against black-white, which is... I thought we were up against mono-white, but now we're up against black-white, in fact. Which is pretty scary for us, frankly. So Meathook Massacre, of course, is a giant concern. They have it for x=1 next turn. Yeah, I think we try to beef up our board and beat out Meathook Massacre. Okay, this trade I think I'm fine with. So Meathook Massacre is actually not available here either. Skullport Merchant's annoying, to be sure. So we can either Ranger class Pump or we can play Kodama. I think I like Ranger class Pump. Let's just keep getting big. So they'll have 5 mana next turn, which will be a Meathook Massacre for x=3. So let's get this up to a 4. Actually, Meathook Massacre for 3 still kills us. Still kills our board, because the Weaver of Harmony will die and everything will shrink. So we could just be dead. Okay, Sciences makes me feel a lot better. I did the math wrong there. I'm not used to playing with creatures. Obviously, we haven't won yet, but... Another Lord goes a long way, though. So we're just jamming. Pump this, pump this. Yeah, so we're concerned about Blood on the Snow here, but we are attacking for 14 trample. So, yeah. Cool. So that was pretty great, despite the misplay. If they had Meathook Massacre, we probably would have had to scoop, so I'm not really happy with how we played that game, but we did win. All right, that's what matters. On to the next one. Okay, on the draw, Any untapped land makes our decisions very easy. We do not have easy decisions to make here, unfortunately, so we can try to guarantee having the Spirited Companion on too, but that's not even that good. I think I just want to roll the dice on finding untapped land next turn, and even in the worst case, we'll be able to visit her next turn as well. So we'll go with this. More black-white is probably not what we want to see. On the draw, our creatures will not outpace their Meathook Massacres. So let's... What are our choices here? It's either Spirited Companion or Ranger class, right? Both of them pump the Visitor. I think I would rather have the Ranger class in play, knowing that we're up against something with board wipes in it. I'd like to just get the Ranger class down and start playing around the board wipe a little more effectively. Evolving Wilds. Interesting. Is there like a black-white landfall deck that I'm not familiar with? This is tempting, right? Like, we can play the Naturalist and then play the Reign of Truth. Meathook Massacre is going to come down for 2 next turn, which is what we need to be concerned with. If we play the Naturalist and the Companion, then it just plays right into that. Frankly, so does playing the Visitor. Alright, we're going to play the Visitor. We're going to pump the Ranger class. And we're going to pump this Visitor to keep it out of Meathook Massacre range. Another Revolving Wilds, okay. I don't know what those are for. That's a good draw. As they go. Meathook Massacre next turn will be for 3. Yeah, let's do this. Let's just get our stuff as big as we can. And I think, yeah, let's just keep making the visitors as big as we can. Or just win. I sort of assumed that that wasn't a possible outcome, but okay. They just sort of rolled over and died. Alright, we'll take that. On to the next one. Okay, on the play, no 1-drop, which actually does make our hand significantly worse than it otherwise would have been, but there's just too much raw power in this hand to not keep. Whether we play the Aspirant or Ranger class on 1 is an interesting question. I think against Hall of the Storm Giants, I definitely want to play the Ranger class. I don't want that getting Dwari Disrupted. No Fading Hope here either. It's great to see. Foretell. So blue-white control. So avoiding board wipes is the name of the game. But we also want to put enough pressure on them to make them sweat. So I want this in play so that when we pump the Ranger class next turn, we'll have a modified creature that'll allow us to ramp. And make this cave a threat. And if they Doomscar, then okay. They do not have the white to Doomscar, which might be what they're nicing me about. Generous Visitor is tempting. But again, I am concerned about a board wipe here. Let's pump the Ranger class. I should have done this after playing the Aspirant, I think, because now if they have Dwari Disruption, we're sad. Yeah. We're going to play the Aspirant, though. If they Dwari Disrupted, then okay. Okay, touch the board. That's nice. And let's pump the 2/2. attack, and we'll put the counter here. And if both of these things touch, then we will get to ramp twice, which will make the cave a threat. And we'll be able to rebuild from their board wipe, should they have one. I strongly suspect that they do. Magma Opus. Whoa. Okay, all bets are off. There's no Mythic Mastery here. Okay. Sure. What the hell was that? I think we dodged a bullet. These cards terrify me, especially with the Cryptic Command Sleeves. Against Sultai Uro, I have no idea what's going on. Alright, on to the next one. Okay, on the draw, hand's kind of clunky. But I think we can Aspirant on 1 into Naturalist plus Mishiko on turn... on 2 and then 3. That's what I meant to say. Another Spikefield Cave. Yeah, it's tough. We're playing the Aspirant here, though. They have another Spikefield Hazard? Dragon's Fire, okay. So how do we play around this? Generous Visitor actually kind of appeals to me. Kind of like Generous Visitor and Dispirited Companion. How much removal could they realistically have? And this replaces itself. It puts beef on the field. So like next turn we could Naturalist plus Mishiko and get in for a bow load. Okay. Could even Aspirant plus Mishiko, but I don't think I like that as much. This is the peril, of course, of being on the draw. Like, if we had had this much in play going into their turn 3, we'd have them firmly on the back foot. But instead, they get to do this. It's pretty gross. Okay. Now playing this doesn't pump anymore. I feel like whatever we play just gets dumped on. I don't want this when I don't have any creatures left in play. Let's play the Aspirant, try to get in for as much as we can. I am deeply concerned about Cinderplasm. I don't think we're going to play this. Expected Windfall, sure. Yeah, maybe I'm too nitty here. Does not look like they had a way to kill. Okay. Generous Visitor. Naturalist. Pump. Aspirant. Reign of Truth. Pump. Aspirant. Okay, we're getting in. I do feel very scared. But they are at 13. Let's see what they do. They say go. They want to kill this the most. Let's pump this. I don't think our life total is super significant. It's a little tricky. So, like, say we attack, we have 8 damage. This is 11, so we can't kill them this turn no matter what. Nah, let's just get in. Let's fire it up. And if you can kill it, then you can kill it. Hitting up the land, sure. That sucks. So that's the worst case scenario because it means we don't have any presence left on the board if they find a way to wipe it, which all they need is like a Cinderclasm or something. They did scry to the bottom with the Fading Hope. Smoldering Egg. It's a little scary. There's no more Divide by Zero to worry about anymore. Portrait of Mashiko is on board. Let's try to pump up a little bit. Never mind. Can't. For some reason, I thought this was an enchantment creature. Alright, so we have played into a Cinderclasm if they have it. And I think we're supposed to play this to get in the air next turn. Now they need to flip the egg to block it. And we got there. Okay, so definitely did not play that game super well either, but it's a new deck to me. And our results kind of speak for themselves. I think we went 5-1, 6-1. I'm not sure how many games we played this session. But yeah, the deck seems pretty sweet. Definitely can take the fight to control if they aren't packing sweepers, and most of the stuff control is running right now is single target removal, Dragon's Fire, Fading Hopes, that kind of stuff. So, all told, pretty happy with how this session went. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you would like to see me play in the next one. And hopefully we'll have some more best of 3 coming your way. Once the meta has settled a bit, I'll be more interested in playing sideboarded games. But hopefully you like this little taste of what the new Kamigawa format is going to be like. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all of the above. Makes me feel a lot better. Lets me know what I should do with the content, and I appreciate all of you for watching. So I will see you guys in the next one. Later.